How's it going, guys? So a little bit about me. I'm riding a 2021 GSX 250R. I just bought it about a month ago, actually 20 years ago this month. I got my first bike. It was a Kawasaki Ninja 250. I bought it brand new from the Kawasaki dealer, and I really liked that bike. It was a great, all-around bike. And just like most people, about a year later, I had a friend that had a bigger bike that he was gonna sell. It was a 1997 GSX-R 600. So it was a much faster bike, much more sporty bike than the Ninja 250. And he wasn't asking a whole lot for it, so I upgraded to that. For a short period of time, I had both of those bikes. I rode that one for a couple of years, and then I was getting married myself, and so I was looking to buy a house, and I needed a little bit extra money, so I sold my GSX-R, and I have not really had any other bikes since then. I technically did own 2 other bikes in the intervening years, but I never rode consistently. It was never a where I had a really good bike I could ride all the time. Both of those bikes were old 1980s bikes that barely ran, needed work, so they weren't really what I would call actual bikes that I rode. So then the only other time I did ride kind of consistently was in about 2009. A friend of mine had a Ninja 250 that he was not riding at the time. Forget what the reason was, but he basically just wanted somebody to ride it to keep the fuel from going bad. So he let me borrow it for, I don't even remember, it may have been a couple weeks, may have been a couple of months, but I rode that, and I think that's probably the last time I rode a motorcycle. And so I let my license lapse. I actually didn't ever get my license. I've only ever had my motorcycle permit. Here in Kentucky, you can renew it. It's good for 1 year, and you can renew it every year. All you got to do is go pay the fee and renew it. And it's kind of, at least it used to be, kind of a complicated process to get your license, because you'd have to go take a course at the state. At least that was my understanding. I could be completely off on that, but they made it seem like it was a whole lot more difficult than it really seemed like it should be, so I just never got my license anyways. Because basically in Kentucky, the people that have their license, they say you can ride without a helmet after you've had your license for a year, at least 1 year. Well, I always wear a helmet anyways. I always will wear a helmet even if I do ever get my license, so that was not an enticement for me. And the only other enticement was that you could ride with a passenger, because if you have just your permit, you cannot ride with a passenger. I also never planned to ride with a passenger, so that was not an enticement for me either. So anyways, I decided just to never get my license. Now that I'm a little bit older, and after COVID, things have kind of changed, and they've kind of changed the way they do the licenses and stuff, as far as you can get it attached to your real ID and all this stuff. And so I'm considering doing it now, and also there are courses, the motorcycle rider safety courses that you can take that will give you a break on insurance. Well, I'm in my 40s now, so insurance is not that expensive anyways, but if I can get a break on it, I might do it, because I think it's my wife did some research on it, and I think it's about $150 to do the course, and it's a 3-day course at the local Harley-Davidson dealer. So it may be something I end up doing before long, because if you do that, you also basically, once you take the course and you pass the course, you get your license too. So you can get your license right as you take that course. So that may be a benefit as well. And again, you won't have to go and renew the permit each year. Now, I was told recently from another motorcycle rider, that they no longer allow you to just keep your permit indefinitely, that you can only get it renewed one time, and then they make you either take the test again, I guess maybe the rule, or you're just not allowed to have it. I can't imagine that's actually true, but maybe she's right. I don't know for sure. But so it may be one of those things. If she is accurate in her in what she told me, then I may have to get my license no matter what, you know, whether I want to or not, if I want to keep riding. So anyway, yeah, so this is my whole reason for getting a motorcycle in the first place was I wanted to have something that I could commute on cheaply. As most of you are going to know, gas prices are skyrocketing right now. Here in my city, they're at for just the basic fuel, it's averaging about $4.75 a gallon. It's late June right now. It's June 22nd, if I remember right, and you know, it's one of those things where they're claiming the gas is, or even around here, is going to get up to $6 a gallon. Well, I was driving a Chevy Tahoe. You know, I drive an older Chevy Tahoe. It only gets about 12 to 13 miles to the gallon. I'm driving about 7.5 miles a day, 7 to 7.5 miles a day to work, and then 7.5 miles home. So I'm really only getting about a one trip per gallon of gas, one round trip per gallon of gas. So it was getting kind of expensive. Now, of course, I actually had switched, not of course, but I did switch and start using my wife's car because hers gets on a good tank of gas. I can get about 30 miles to the gallon, maybe just a little less, depending on how you drive. And obviously, with any car or with any bike, the way you drive will affect your gas mileage. And I know since gas prices have gone up, I have been noticing myself being more cautious about accelerating fastly, and just making sure that you know, on the car it has the little gauge. It tells you what your miles per gallon is in real time. You know, it gives the average, of course, so after that, but I try to keep it as high as possible, which means I'm accelerating slowly from lights. And you know, I know other drivers around me are probably getting mad. I don't really care. It's kind of humorous because I will do my thing. I'll do accelerating kind of slowly, and then the other cars will be speeding past me, and then they get stuck at the same traffic lights that I'm at. Anyways, that's kind of not a new thing for me anyhow, because I'm also a school bus driver, and there are so many times when people want to go quickly around a school bus and fly around a school bus, and you know, run past the stop arm, which is a big issue here. I mean, I know it's a big issue everywhere, but they'll do that, and then they'll end up sitting at the next traffic light with me anyhow. I'll pull up about 15 seconds after them, and they're still sitting there waiting. So just impatient society we're living in now. But yeah, it's so I've been enjoying riding the bike. I believe I'm getting about 75 miles to the gallon. I'm between 70 and 75. And I may be, you know, I don't have an exact number on that. I'm kind of basing it on on one tank of fuel that I've already put in the bike, and because I did buy this bike brand new. It literally just hit 197 miles just now. It had 1 mile on it when I bought it, according to the title paperwork. But even that was not actually true. It was 0 miles when I actually fired it up for the first time at my house, because I towed it home from my dealer when I did buy it. But yeah, I'm enjoying this bike. It's funny because I've read a lot of negative things about this bike online. There have been a lot of people that have given this bike a bad review. Most of them are experienced riders, and I get it. It's not a super high-powered bike. It doesn't have you know, a lot of torque. But I mean, so far I'm not having issues with, you know, getting up and going. You know, it's still in the break-in period right now for me, so I'm going you know, about 70% of what the max power, you know, max RPM should be on a bike like this. And you know, it seems to be riding just fine for me. I mean, I've had no issues at all with keeping up with traffic. You know, the road I was on just a couple of minutes ago, that's a what's called a limited access highway here in Kentucky, and in Lexington specifically, it's called New Circle Road. It's a road that it basically circles around Lexington, Kentucky, and makes a big loop. And a very good portion of it is kind of like a highway. That's why they call it a limited access highway. There's exits and entrance ramps, bridges that you cross over, that you go under, but you don't have, you know, there is no cross traffic in a good portion of it. Now, part of my commute is on that road where there is some of the traffic. But anyways, it's 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. I have no issues at all staying in my right lane and doing 55, and I know I've got more power behind it. If I needed to go a little faster, I could. I'm taking things slow because I want to get as good a gas mileage as I possibly can, and I'm not out here trying to race anybody. That's just not my thing. But yeah, it's I've enjoyed having this bike, and I don't know how well you can hear the exhaust. I did replace the stock exhaust with a Corsa, Leo Vinci Corsa GP, I think is what it's called. I got it for about $240 on motorsport.com. You know, really easy install. I actually just watched a video on YouTube of somebody doing it on their Ninja, and it was quite similar. There were a couple little variances, and I'm assuming they base the one they ship to you on what model you have, because I have, you know, I told them I had a 21 GSX 250R, and every single piece that came with it was exactly what I needed to put it on the bike. It went on really well. I've actually got another video on my channel if you're interested in seeing that. It's just basically me putting it on, no talking at all, just the wonders of nature, listening to the sound of the birds chirping in the background while I'm working on it. But yeah, you can check that out if you're interested. And this is just a test to see how well this setup sounds. If anybody enjoys it, you know, let me know, and I'll be glad to keep putting videos up like this. Is there anything that you'd want to hear from somebody like me, from the perspective of a school bus driver, motorcycle rider? Again, if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I also work on the electronics on the school buses. I work on the camera systems, the communication systems, the public address inside the bus, and then GPS as well. I have no formal training with it. It's just something I started doing about 2 years into my working at the school bus garage. They needed somebody to help out with the cameras. They knew I had worked for a security company doing camera installation previously, so they asked me to help out, and I did. And now it's been many years later. But if there's something you'd like to see, let me know. And I guess I'll talk to you in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day.